Aye.
All right, so we'll make it a motion to come back into regular session, and well, to adjourn executive session and to go back into regular session at 9:48.
I made the motion.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, carried and approved. All right, moving forward with the agenda, before we tackle correspondence, so that, John, what all do you have to go over today?
We figured out where we're gonna take the money from the sidewalk plow. Gene's got that figured out. The check can be made for the November 9th meeting, is that right?
Okay,
Okay, that's that.
senior building?
Senior building, I got one guy coming tomorrow or Wednesday to look at it. I talked to two other contractors, they don't want nothing to do with it. I got a call from Keith Gassman, I talked to Tom, Bradfield, I haven't heard nothing, he wanted to look, I haven't heard nothing back from him, so that's where we're at with that.
So how many bids do we have total right now?
Nothing.
None?
None, Kirk said he would look at it, I talked to Dale Smith today, he didn't want nothing to do with it, Mark Pritchard didn't want nothing to do with it, I talked to Kirk today, he said he would come look at it. I've called him and I'm waiting on a call back from him. I talked to Tom, was it last
What about
Wednesday?
Lambs?
I'll give him a call too tomorrow, I mean.
He's expensive, but.
Everybody kinda is like tippy-toeing around this a little bit for some reason, and I just don't know exactly why.
Do you know?
Well, it's asbestos, and I think it's not, it's one of them jobs, it's not straightforward, it's one of them that's, well, it's like we discussed there for Bruce Mowat there when we talked to Tom, I mean, them bathrooms are gonna be a royal, and it's, I understand from the contractor's point of view that it's, how can you throw a bid at this job and you get into them bathrooms and it's, you know, the toilet flanges are rotted and you really gotta go do much work, cause you're looking the floor quarter or so you gotta bring everything up and redo it. And also, is it one of them things, do we have to have a men in the women's bathroom? Can we cut, just maybe make one bathroom and a band in the other, or do we have to cover everything, cause there's people in there?
Right.
I'm not sure what you're discussing about
That's,
doing, but Bud Huber might be one.
Okay, I mean,
I
it's
see
just,
Bud all the time.
it's just, it seems like, it's, as soon as they said something about putting the floor in down there, no, I don't want to do that. Nah, I don't want to do that. And I don't want,
Rose, under the procurement policy, do we have to have like an official bid that it has to open in here, or we just take whoever?
I
It's
think the, official bid would be over 10, let's see.
Is it
State
over
standard is 10,000, yeah, some municipalities have it set lower than that.
Going faster.
I think it's 999, isn't it?
Contracts, yeah, 10,000.
So we can just
Either
take,
10 or 20.
so we can just
Depending
take
on what's
whoever,
for-
I mean, we should, for competitive bidding, we should have a couple, right, and then just
Right,
choose.
but if it's under the 10,000, then we don't have to advertise it, I believe. If it's
Right.
under 10 or 20.
10.
10.
It'll move for purchase contract and your,
Is there a point where if we don't get any bids that we can do it ourselves?
But because of the asbestos, I didn't think the village wanted to do the labor.
if you wanna call up Gray's Insurance and see if they'll cover a potential claim against it for your workers' comp policy, that's really what that'll come down to. And the answer is almost certainly no.
Okay, just wondering.
Well, I'd like to see this done because, I mean, we got, everybody's inquiring on it and we're just waiting for somebody to take on the job. I mean, Senator Young, George from Senator Young's office called about it, and yeah, people are calling Senator Young and complaining that we haven't done anything, but we're just waiting on to have somebody come in and.
well, it's like everything, if you're trying to find somebody to do the job and you've got people that really are not interested, or, you know, I mean, you come out and say they're not interested, then there's other people, I know how it works when you're a contractor too, you think you might have a time to do something quick, and then something comes along and you've gotta make the money now.
Right,
you know?
Department of Aging is also wanting to get an idea of what the village's intentions are, because they want to keep a site in Cattaraugus. They're wondering if the village will bring the building up to standards so that they could possibly come back.
Would they?
They can't commit to anything 100%, but they want to keep,
Wow.
a
They would
site in the village, and they have the contract with the church through, I think, December.
and the church
But
isn't,
the church doesn't want to do some of the things that need to be
They don't.
done in order to have a hot meal site. And that is, from my understanding, that's county, Department of Aging's final,
Right.
that's what they're shooting for, is to be able to have a hot meal site in Cattaraugus. They don't wanna lose the Cattaraugus site.
cause what we have, $9,900 or $9,500 appropriated for
Mhm.
that building?
So,
We should,
are we getting into a whole nother ball of wax? If we're hiring to do something, do we bring the building back to code to possibly bring them back?
I think so.
as
I
far
need
as
to
the,
lose
We're
them.
done.
I mean, I thought,
Yeah.
my thought was for the asbestos works that they would, and I
People
thought
ask
that
questions on this all the time.
if they would wanna do that, we were gonna fix the building up, then couldn't you and,
Have there been some
There's,
sort of changes that would
couldn't you
require-
guys handle
This
that?
is from
I'm
1992.
trying to think, there's a couple other things,
The lighting.
the lighting,
security lighting.
the hood over top, the range.
Yeah,
Somebody said
Needs
that
fire
that they
suppression.
felt that there were
Yes, this is stuff
changes
that's
that
above and
needed to
beyond,
be
you know.
reflected in this, and this
I've never
wasn't.
messed with fire
Interesting.
suppression, haven't.
Michael Brooks has it down
That's
the story, he might.
Can't we just use the fire extinguisher?
No,
or
No,
the fire
no, you
suppression?
gotta
Yeah,
have,
that's-
I
it's
don't
gotta have
have,
a
you gotta
Come
have
and look,
suppression.
that's it. I had to go to a different session that day.
I don't, there's.
Well, you do
I'll dig up
get
these
them.
notes that they
Must be
have.
dry chemical, I take
Oh,
that.
that's where the minutes are here, because they were.
Yeah.
Well, can you speak with the Department of Aging? Rose, can you get John, the Department of Aging representative's phone number, and you can talk with them and see what all they would require if we were.
They wouldn't give me a list. The person who did the inspection didn't really do an inspection. It was just stuff that she noted when she came in for another reason. They said that we would need to talk to our code enforcement officer, and he's done an inspection of the building, so.
We've got that, what it needs somewhere, don't we?
Yeah,
Gary has it.
Yeah.
Gary did the
So,
full.
what do you guys wanna do? You wanna push, you wanna get a contractor just put a floor in?
Well,
Or
let's,
do we wanna get,
There will be some other
well, we're
minor
gonna have
things
to
that need
see
to be
what's gonna
done.
cost us in the end, see what we got left after we do the floor,
Right.
before we.
We've got the
go on.
gas,
$9,500?
the gas line needs to be,
Huh?
you got what, $9,500?
Yeah.
If you want to age it, you'd have to do the hood.
yeah,
because they won't
No,
touch them.
Mark could probably
Yeah,
get
the
that.
gas
Mark
line
can
in the
mess with
hood,
small jobs. $9,500,
exit
that's gonna probably
light
put them in
signs.
that floor in the smoke by the time you pay somebody.
Probably
to
the
put
paint
it in.
upstairs or something.
I don't know,
I would the outside dimensions are roughly about 5,000 square feet. That's not including tearing all the bathrooms apart, getting everything all raised up, getting the doors cut off and everything fit.
I thought we were just putting down some padding and then putting on top. We weren't removing the asbestos.
We're not, but you gotta pull the toilet, I mean, the tiles in the bathroom, so you gotta pull the sinks and the tablets up, and you gotta put it all across the floor to encapsulate, and then you gotta bring the flanges up to match. You know, it's more than meets the eye, I mean, it's no big, I mean, cutting the doors off, so big deal, pull the doors off, hinges, and cut them off to, well, quarter inch, whatever. But there's stuff to go around and everything else, you know, it's not.
That,
Do we have to,
Lord.
I take it, we gotta go right wall to wall, right, you can't, so that means the range, the sink, and everything's gonna have to be pulled out, and it's gonna have to be put underneath there, and everything's gonna have to be put back.
the range is.
The cabinets wouldn't have to move, and the
yeah,
The range
the
is still
stove and the,
range is gone?
yeah, it should be, and the sink,
Okay, so that.
they should have taken that.
Okay, so that part of it's out of there, okay. Well, that saves us some money. Now, here we go again, now do we put laminate flooring down, the hardwood type is like what we're talking about, do we put that down in the kitchen, can we have that underneath the range? Or if we're gonna have to
Well,
have something,
I know we decided on, or we kind of decided on that flooring,
Right.
but can we use rolled linoleum? That shit's a hell of a lot cheaper than that flooring, ain't it?
I don't know.
Can you
I'm
put it
sure
on
it's
top of
cheaper
that
than
padding?
flooring, but it's,
Can you put it on top of that padding that's supposed to encapsulate it?
The moisture barrier.
What, yeah, that thing?
That's not really encapsulating it, the moisture barrier is just what you put.
All
on
you're
the floor.
basically
The
doing is
floating
putting
floor
some-
is the encapsulation.
Yeah. You're just putting something over it so it don't break up. I don't know.
When realistically, probably carpet the damn thing.
Really?
I don't think you can put anything over it, just to.
We have to talk to Gary.
Possibly quarter inch plywood and screw it down and be,
Yeah, you can put Luan over it. That shit's cheap.
well, then if you press on further to bring Department AU back in, if we have to have something that's underneath the range that's fire retardant, you've got the option to do that part of the kitchen, and the rest of it you could go through and do as you see fit to, you could throw carpet over top of it then. Indoor outdoor carpet, which is dirt cheap and changeable.
That's the thing, we'd have to have Gary come out and tell us what we can and can't use, I guess.
Alright, well, I'll proceed to go to floor bidding,
We gotta make
They
some
were doing
groundwork on
something.
here, yeah, some headway, some headway.
I understand completely. Alright,
I don't think that floor will be as bad as you think. It cools on pretty quick.
it does, I think the biggest problem is, the main room is pretty straightforward, but it's the bathrooms that are gonna be the killer. If you divide the job up, I bet you the cost to do the bathrooms in the front hall costs you what it costs to do the floor.
I mean, we have a lot of angles in our upstairs.
What is this
little hallway,
hallway?
she'll freaking put the whole floor down.
What is it?
It's been, that was taken care
It's
of.
amazing
So
how
that
fast
can
it
come
goes
off?
out.
Yeah.
She had
I think
insurance, that's
most of the
our-
correspondence should be pretty.
Yeah, we do.
It's that.
You need to decide about the museum window
Well, she
repair.
gets that.
Yeah, which we'll just have, we're gonna have to,
What?
The museum
Or-
people are looking for your approval on the repairs to the museum windows before snow flies.
Do we have money for the museum?
The historical, that come out 1364.4. Right now you have money. I mean, I don't know how much you're talking.
Is that for the
Quote is
museum or is that-
$185.
That's for that building over there, it's for senior citizen buildings.
Also,
Oh, so it's all together.
Yeah.
That's
$199.
No, the 9,500 is separate from.
No, 9,500
Oh,
is
it's
separate.
separate, okay.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a server
separate.
account, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, a 1364.4 account is property expense, and that's for the historical building, senior citizen building utilities.
So this-
And another issue that's gonna be coming up in the historical building is the heater,
The furnace.
the furnace.
I thought we were replacing the furnace, weren't we?
It was mentioned and it was never really,
It needs to
They
be
were doing
done
a
this
furnace
year.
check on it, was my
That's what-
understanding.
I-
they didn't put a new stovepipe because the stovepipe laid on the ground.
Okay, so where do we stand with the furnace for the?
I haven't heard anything since they were gonna do the furnace check. That's
How
all.
much was this window repair?
$185.
Let's
So
let's
let's-
approve it, guys.
yeah,
Come on,
get it done.
It's nothing, let's do it.
Well, yeah, because it's only stepping down about this far.
Yeah.
Alright, so, do I have a motion to approve the quote for Lance Home Remedies
make a
for the
motion.
museum window repair? Jason made the motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous, carried and approved.
Just to finish up on the historical building, should we see about getting, Mark Pritchard to give us a quote of what it's gonna cost to furnish everything to be done with the furnace? Because next month, we're gonna have snow,
Right.
Yeah,
so
I
I
thought-
want to be proactive and.
I thought he was gonna go in and do a furnace check for us anyway, wasn't he, Rose?
I thought somebody was doing a furnace
I thought
check, I don't
somebody was
remember
as well.
who it
Probably
was.
is Mark, because Kyle Lee's pretty much running that over now.
So what do we have to go ask Mark to do it?
I'll go ask him.
John, are you? Okay, let's have John, give him approval to do that,
yeah.
okay? Boom, get that one done.
Do you have anything else, John? I think that pretty much covers everything there. Don't even see anything on here.
Let him talk, will you?
I'm luring him to say no.
The only thing is, I know of is, as soon as we get the okay, we can get going on that parking lot, maybe, I get over there, maybe, it's supposed to rain pretty good Wednesday, but maybe Thursday I'll find some time where we're just kind
Oh.
of spread things around a little bit and see, and you gotta tell me where the money's gonna come from.
So first off, in regards to the parking lot that we discussed, for
The bigger one.
the bigger one, yeah, next to the Crawford House, or Crawford Hotel. I sent an email was it a week or week and a half ago or something to Colleen. She called me back today, she apologized for not, they've been busy, whatever, so on and so forth. her understanding of that is that we don't need to have a lease, that they add us as
An additional insured?
an additional insured,
Hey, if they're willing to do that. sure.
and then we're able to, through the historical society, we're able to continue to maintain it, such as plowing and all of that. Is
Now, you
that,
keep saying historical society, is it historical society or is it historic
That's the second one.
Cattaraugus Court?
which one owns that, Gene, do you know?
I checked on the
Cattaraugus
GIS,
Historic.
it's Historic Cattaraugus Corp. that owns, if it's the address that I sent you on my phone.
Yeah. Okay, so if it's them,
But that being said, I would recommend at least a simple lease, a simple agreement of some sort. in
well,
writing.
I think Fritz is the bank's attorney, is that correct? He's supposed to get a hold of you tomorrow, in regards to this. I said, I thought we should have a lease, because if anything, I'm handling this, even if you were to list as an insured, it could be considered as gifting of funds, because we're doing all of this, I wasn't sure. But also then that leads up to another question, is about uptown, we're out of town, but up
Above the tracks.
above the tracks and maintaining that, if we should have a lease for that as well. Because we do plow there as a courtesy for them. And again, and her thing is, well, it's always been this way, but God forbid something were to happen, and I don't know how that's set up, so if you could talk to her,
Does she allow public parking there, or is that?
that's Pat is,
I wouldn't say they would come out forth and say they allow it, but if you park there, that's okay.
They tolerate it or suffer it?
If,
perhaps?
if
That's like
people
when we
that
next
have
door,
apartments
the parking lot
uptown,
that I own, the
if they
flower
need to
shop,
park up there, they can park.
People,
Mhm.
they don't use it, but there's cars in there, that's how
Yeah.
it is.
I would have to advise you that the village shouldn't be maintaining anybody's private property, and that only if the property is being used publicly should the village expend any time or effort maintaining the property or plowing it, legally speaking.
You turn around in there, don't you, John?
No, I don't.
You
But
turn
if it's
around in
plowing-
there, you turn around in there.
Now, if his plowing pattern requires him to turn around there,
Yeah, we turn around there.
yeah.
Yeah.
If he's required to turn around there for his plowing pattern, and they allow him to do that, then that's fine.
That's, I'll turn around.
alright, so if you can follow up with her in regard to, well,
Are you,
Fritz
are
is
you
supposed to
doing
come
more
over
over
tomorrow
there
in
than
regards
what
to
you
that.
did?
Excellent.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
We're putting a parking lot in over there.
yes, there's.
It's gonna hold,
we
hopefully,
talked that day about the parking, they want to
6-8 cars,
go across, so basically,
half of that long.
somehow or another, we're gonna connect the two lots.
right, so that the bank and Jenny Lee employees technically have parking. I mean, it's not gonna be reserved just for bank and Jenny Lee,
But also give parking to the funeral home if they.
parking, but also though, no overnight parking, so that,
Are you gonna put restricted or employee-only signs up or anything?
well, so
like
that, well, I was talking about that with Colleen, I guess she doesn't really want that, but I said, we can't have overnight parking, cause if we're maintaining this, then John needs to be able to come through and just sweep through and clean out the snow when he does his, his round, so,
You know, just a sign that says no parking 10 PM to 6 AM, something like that,
something like that, yes, that'll work. But,
or
Yeah.
whatever hours John
But-
has.
Gene, where would we be able to take the money out to do that project?
You come out of general, right?
You have to come out general out of the street. That's
Okay.
the only place you have.
We don't have
Now-
to pre-approve that, do we?
Pardon?
We don't have to make a motion to pre-approve to do that, or do we?
No, I mean, now, can you consider that at all restoration for the FEMA money? I mean, are you talking a lot of money?
Well, I'm not talking a lot of money, if, maybe $1,500-$1,600, maybe. Because if it works out, I talked with Jason, if they're still working in Dayton, I can get millings on top of wood, and that ain't gonna cost me nothing but hauling. The only thing I would like to get some stone in the bottom, so we got a decent base, cause I know some of it's blacktop and some of it ain't, but where there's no blacktop, get some tube stone in there, so we got some drainage. I got quite a bit of millings left at the shop, if I run short, I probably, like you said, if you guys work over in Dayton,
Yeah, you talk to Gary.
talk to Gary, see what's going on, if I can get some for you guys, if not, the town's probably got some down there, I can get a couple loads.
The town just got some.
It would come
Yeah.
out 5110.
Then, maybe I get the millings in there, maybe just top it, just a touch of limestone so it packs good.
Now, say if we do have to have a lease, are we able to still go ahead and just do it, and then on the 9th or whatever, I can go ahead and sign it, or do we have to make a motion that I can go ahead and sign the lease so that we can go ahead and,
Well, if the village is officially paying $1 for the lease, then yeah, you gotta vote to spend that $1. Seriously.
So are
The board
you,
has to approve all expenditures, including $1.
so are, my question to you though is, if, cause you, talking to Fritz, and he was saying that we shouldn't, the way they have it set is whatever, but I didn't know if it could be misconstrued as spending money or giving money for.
To improve it, but then allow it to be used publicly?
Yeah,
No, you're maintaining a public parking lot, for or at least some portion of public use, so, no. It's not a gift of public funds.
so then we don't need to have a lease, or?
No, lease isn't about that. The lease is for the village to cover its own butt in case, well, first of all, yes, somebody getting hurt, but separately, what authority do you have to be on their land?
Just like the water.
Also, what if something happens? What are the points for the lease to be terminated? What if the village doesn't want to do it anymore? Can it just say, I'm done and walk away? How does it do that? Basics, you want to make sure they're covered.
Okay, so you're gonna be able to convey that then to Fritz?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Either he or I will work out something from one of the forms we keep.
okay, so, and I know Colleen will, and Pat and all of them at the historical group will approve of it for $1 for a minimal transaction. Can we go ahead and just go ahead and authorize that, and also give me,
If you want to, yeah, have a motion that authorizes the spending of the $1 on the lease and authorizes you to sign the lease on behalf of the village in
so
order
that
to
we
lease
can
the
go ahead
land
and get
for
this done
public
before
use.
winter flies? Because
You could have the board authorize that right now if you wanted, yes.
okay. Do I have a motion then that we go ahead and authorize $1 to be spent for the lease of the parcel of property next to the Crawford Hotel, and in regards to creating a parking lot, and that the village will maintain it, such as plowing, and giving myself the authorization to sign said such lease.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous, carried and approved. So as soon as that gets done, if you can give that to me, so that hopefully, if it could be by the end of this week, that John can start and the boys can get that done, that'd be great.
So I have a motion to.
Rick, and second was Jason.
Yes.
Yeah, I got them.
A motion for parking and to authorize the mayor to sign.
Authorize expenditure of the $1 lease parcel of land for publicly.
Public maintained and public
Use.
used, but subject to certain restrictions, parking, and authorizes the mayor to sign the lease.
You're gonna put up those fancy little concrete bumpers?
Jersey
Or just gonna throw
barriers?
some campaign signs up, tell people, follow up to those?
And does the board want me
Some
to park
kicking
there?
around.
Where do you want me to park?
Where have you been?
I guess I didn't know.
I have been
didn't
parking
put
on
nothing
here.
there. I just
In front of my
fly.
place, wherever possible, since it was empty.
Okay.
So,
So back
where
to
do you say?
But
Where do you want me to park?
I don't think, see, that's an issue that,
would it be okay for you to park across there? Would you?
I can park in that parking lot if that's where you want me to park, that's fine.
I just think that it helps out the work.
Sure.
If
I just
you're
wanna
willing
make sure I'm parking where everybody wants me to
Yeah,
park.
I mean, I'm just saying, it helps out the merchants.
well, when Jason and I spoke, we talked about the other two spots,
That's a big loop. You
right
gotta
up here next to, on
And all we get paid to do
this
that.
side of Main Street,
The tenants have been parking there, I think.
make somebody around that soon.
But you still have
Probably.
tenants parking right in front of Rebecca's, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, on the other side?
yeah,
Yeah, they've been parking at the top
We
of
gotta
there.
figure that out
I mean,
soon.
if you and Rebecca park there, that helps so that whoever comes access this right here. I mean, unless the cutlery has somebody going there, I don't see that it's an issue for you to be parked up there personally.
Well, they're open what, Thursday,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
yeah, so Thursday and Friday, about the only days that they'd have anybody there.
And now, where are you talking?
Like in front of the Cutlery Museum.
Where that driveway is?
No, those parking spots on that upper side.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't, I mean, then you got, I don't foresee that it's an issue for both you and Rebecca, because we spoke about that with business owners, that you and Rebecca can park right up here, it's 2 spots, and it doesn't take time, you know, you're right there, whatever the case is. Alright,
The way the world is changing so much, what is done and how it's done is getting to be,
Ridiculous.
yeah, it's just like, oh, and the drain underneath the parking lot up here that I didn't go up and work in, that I never dug a hole in, is working.
what's your, oh,
Well, this much I will tell you though, it's not gonna last forever.
okay.
I looked down through the tiles, They're there, they're somewhat intact. It's not gonna last forever.
So whoever did it did a temporary fix.
Well, no, well, the problem is, there's about 20 times more water going through that tile than there used to be, because all the water, used to be some of the water went down one side of West Hill and over there, and then the other one used to, now it all comes down one side, and it's, the theory is, coming underneath the road, I think that's either 18 or 20 inch, and that in there, I think is maybe 15-inch tile, so you're necking it down instead of going the other way. And it goes out through private property. And it goes, and sad part of it is, when they redid parts 353, they hauled all that fill up in there. When you used to go back on the back side of the building, you went down, and the lower part of the building, you stepped out into the parking lot. Now, you go up like this. That tile is underneath that, and it goes, and it's about 4 or 5 half feet above the creek behind your house is where that tile comes out. So you know how deep that is.
Yeah.
Just, we're telling you, someday down the road, it's not gonna be there. That's it.
That's it.
I think, for today.
While we're kind of talking about water and stuff, when we passed the water law, did we pass the right law or something? What were we talking about? Did somebody ask us about the old law to take it out of effect?
Yes, that was
Is
a
that
typo
true?
and it was already corrected.
Okay, that wasn't nothing that we needed to correct?
That was just a typo in the minutes,
Right.
reflecting what was
Typo
in
in
the
the
law.
minutes, it was corrected.
Thank you.
That's supposed to be water.
Right.
It's craft.
Oh, all right, John, you're good.
That's why I said.
Thank you.
Okay, you can call me.
Gene.
You're on bankers hours
Gentlemen.
tomorrow.
After the last
Thanks,
meeting,
John.
Yep, do
I
it.
wanted
Oh.
to summarize.
John, can you give this to Gene for me, please? Please, thank you. It's just
There you go.
that was just questions that come up that wanted to go over, that if you could go over and explain to us in November's meeting, briefly, just so we have a better understanding, because everything's been coming up in regards to the budget,
Okay,
and just so we all have a better understanding, if you could do that.
okay.
Don't need to go over it now, but it is 10:15.
You don't mind entertaining that for us?
Pardon?
If you don't mind entertaining that for us?
The,
Yeah.
Time Warner Cable thing, did we ever reply to them and tell them,
Yeah, I thought we did.
did we ever hear anything back from them?
I haven't heard, did you?
Okay, wait a minute. Let me
No,
finish
the
on
mayor was
this.
supposed to.
So I can leave. After the last
Why
board
don't I ask,
meeting,
who did the board task to send that reply? Do we know?
One of you two, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, go ahead, Gene, what do you mean?
I sent out, you should have received an email with a summary of the village's plan.
Yep.
I just wanted, I didn't know if you knew what the situation was, so I wanted to try and summarize it as much as I could for you, to see what is owing, how much is owing for water, how much is owing for general, what next year's payments are going to be. I just want you to have an idea, so I don't know if it helps at all. If you had a chance to look at it. Any questions?
The sewer bond.
Yep.
Is that part of the benefit that everybody's talking about?
Yes,
So the last payment is
November.
November, so next month. And that ends when? When do people have to start paying on that? Is it next
That's
year?
up to the board. That's a fee that was put in, because it was their feeling at that time that it benefited the whole community for the business section and so forth, and that they would help contribute towards the business section being open and so forth.
Right,
And that's
But
where the
it's
money come from to pay this back.
$60.
But I mean, that's gonna be up to you guys to determine.
When do we have to discuss that? Is that the next meeting?
No, that will be at budget time,
Budget time.
when we start doing that. But that bond was paid off 10 years early.
Mhm.
How come we had a 38-year bond for it?
We went out as long as we could.
Oh man.
So,
Just those
And,
little
and you
things.
see that the total debt for water is 1,038,000. So I just wanted you to get a feeling of what, I didn't know if you knew, it was in the budget, but I didn't know if by putting it on one sheet, it would help at all.
Yeah,
So,
I like it.
It does help.
It does. Thank you for taking the time to do that.
I had a question after reading the minutes about Jay, but that's been answered. I had a question about a couple vouchers, but between John and Rose and so forth, that's been answered.
Oh yeah, you did send an email on where to take.
About the, I
Yeah.
had, about the one sidewalk, but also about the gas bill. Because here again, it's still coming out of just the street department,
The
not out
police.
of police.
Yep,
So-
and I'm getting a report, now that we're at the end of the month, I can get a report that will give me the estimate to go back, starting at the fiscal
You
year,
charge the.
and get an estimate to charge the police each month.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to start getting that report every month, and it'll separate out for the next board meeting. So October's report will give me the breakdown for November's meeting.
Are they still gonna keep a written log, so in case the system goes down?
I don't know.
As far as I know, they have. Yeah, I mean, Jen said that
They
they're
should.
doing the written law. Oh, in regards to police, I did receive an email from Jen because he couldn't make it tonight. In regards to the employee that we discussed at the last meeting, he sent an email saying the only thing that I have for you to have for the work session is an approval of Sydney Wheeler to be the replacement officer for Shane. She has already started field training, need her active start date to be 10/25. Thank you and have a good night. So, he's making the hiring of Sydney Wheeler, and then her start date's 10/25. Do I have a,
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Jason made the motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Work
Work.
second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous, carried and approved, okay.
Am I done?
Do you wanna be done, Gene?
Is there anything else, budget line?
You can only hope.
I think you're all set, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Chief.
Sorry for keeping you.
See you guys.
Have a good one.
Okay, it's 10:20, let's roll this. All right, so the Tricia Musel complaint on 30 Mill Street, that's been taken care of. Cat County Treasurer's Office requests to transfer partial initiative. That was, what,
That's on hold, right? Until-
that's what Michael,
That's what Mike offered you guys, the
Yes.
entire, so I don't know if you guys were gonna talk about it.
Ashley's supposed to be drawing up. I believe it's supposed to be, if I recall correctly, when, and he was just right there. Ashley was supposed to be drawing it up and giving it to Jay to review, and then we're supposed to approve, is what I recall.
And then you also have to consider whether or not you want the property. Do you
Right.
want the whole thing? So think about potential pitfalls to owning the property.
Okay. Can you list that part under old business as far as, that,
The next
Park.
meeting?
yeah. So at least just so that we're on top of it and we know when that's gonna be taken care of. Cattaraugus County Department of Human Resources, workers' compensation billing. Which, did anybody else get anything from Tom, or from DiNapoli in an email in regards to the huge savings that they're giving for that? No?
No.
It was pretty much just what that, that correspondence was. NICOM, they're petitioning for local gross receipts tax. Time Warner, can we also have that listed on as old business? Not the expiring agreement, but the franchise fee?
You guys, one of you guys were gonna send that out?
I've gotta
Can't
check my
remember
July
the-
13th minutes, I have down that there was a motion about the Time Warner Cable, but I don't.
It was, we
Have it
went
in front
for
I honestly
five.
thought
You
it was
wanted
the
to
mayor
like
who was gonna
respond
send
to
that.
6.
Was it the
I think so. I have a vague recollection. I looked through my notes.
It was,
I don't
Wasn't
see it
it-
having
well,
been
the mayor
appointed to
dropped
me,
the
though,
ball
if you
on it.
want to, look at it. But
You wanted to ask for 6%
Yeah, I think that's what it
instead
was.
of what they had offered.
yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that part.
yeah,
But had
I just
vague
don't
recollection.
remember who was gonna do
It might have been myself actually. I'm not
it.
sure.
Way to go.
I'm not surprised, I swear. Can you put that on there though, so that
Yes, that will go on the
And-
old business.
send me right. Pat McGlue's complaint on Main Street parking, that's been taken care of. New York State Homeland Security Emergency Services, time extension granted for all incomplete applications that had nothing to do with us. New York State Homes and Community Renewal, OCR program staff reassessment. There's really nothing to discuss in regards to that. That was just a reassignment, excuse me, that was from Charlie Fillion to whoever the next person.
Scott Lamountain.
Yeah, something like that. Email from Eric Pritchard in regard to backflow inspections and also in regards to the 824 meeting response.
What was the backflow thing?
Backflow inspections, that was
Backflow inspection, we sent out letters to everyone with a
all the businesses.
backflow prevention device
Yeah,
to make sure that we had up-to-date inspections,
Uh-huh.
and so he responded to that with the current inspection.
Oh, okay.
right. The Center Sticks was on top of.
They're up to date
Yes.
and all that, okay.
Thank you letter from Mr. Lefebvre.
Which I have here if anyone wants to see it.
That was in regards to the flower sent for Lenore.
I'm good.
She's still missed.
Thank you, guys.
We already approved the quote for Lance to do the window repair, Lance Home. Joint Planning Board, 10-14 minutes. We just need to approve them, correct? No,
We need to vote on that.
we need to vote.
Well, you do need to vote on them, but you need to look at what they're proposing for their,
It was just the
for their
application,
proposed
right?
sign.
The application.
No, the two sentences that go along with it, that's their law
Mhm.
that they're proposing. So you need to decide if that's enough for you, and you wanna replace the current 9.3 in the village.
What's the additional two sentences? Do you remember?
I do have it.
I don't remember what it
What's that?
was. I don't remember what it was.
Don't
I don't know.
That's
There's
fine.
about 7 or 8 pages of signage requirements in the current zoning law for the village, and they want to replace it,
Did you just say poo on camera?
I sort of did. Let me see if it's in this folder.
No, that wasn't on camera.
Well, it wasn't on camera until Jason brought it up. Okay, here it is. They want to replace it with, point 1, the joint planning board will act in an advisory capacity with the applicant and code enforcement officer to develop a sign plan that meets our community mission statement. Point 2, there's no fee for sign permit application and approval.
I mean, I liked it. Made sense to me.
We don't charge a fee for,
We do currently charge a fee for a sign permit. It's a minimum permit fee, just like 99% of our
which is how much?
$50.
When is
So-
the next joint planning
The
board?
next joint planning board meeting is November 4th. Yes, November 4th at 7 o'clock
And our meeting isn't until what?
until the 9th.
The 9th.
That's what they're proposing.
I think we
If
should
it's
still-
okay with you guys, okay. The town board has responded back. They don't feel there's enough. They feel it's too subjective.
Yeah, when you just have the board and whoever
The joint planning board is an advisory board. They're not a regulatory board.
Agreed.
But they want to work with the applicant and the code enforcement officer so that everyone's signs will meet the community mission statement. And
Wasn't that up to the CEO to handle? I mean, he's the one with the authority.
currently, like I said, there's several pages of requirements, and they don't want to do that. They want to be able to have a more rustic, country, Amish, community reflected in the signage in the community. So they want to hopefully be able to approve most of the signs, I think, that are probably presented. They want the signs to meet their mission statement, which is the mission of the town of New Albion and Village of Cattaraugus governments is to conserve and promote a quality residential and rural agricultural lifestyle while encouraging job maintenance and formation of current and future businesses and tourism. We embrace the local history and unique characteristics of our picturesque four-season locale of 399 acres of state property with unrivaled opportunities for sportsmen and women. Additionally, we celebrate our Old Order Amish community, the New York State Amish Trail, and the Amish's varied contributions to our region.
I don't have a problem with that, I don't know if I like the idea of losing $50 for a permit.
Nobody's, look at,
My point is that
enforcing
if
it
the
now?
town
I don't
is
know.
against it because of the joint planning board being the regulatory body in regards to it,
Well, they don't feel there's enough,
you
they
just
feel
have
it's
to
very
play.
subjective. They
Yes.
don't feel like, your sign must be 2x3 and it must be mounted at such and such a height, and the joint planning board feels there's enough other laws that we don't need those kind of laws in our local zoning law. So there's a difference of opinion between what the joint planning board wants to try and not give requirements, and the town board is looking for something a little bit more.
I would have to agree with the town.
Requirement.
I kinda agree with the joint, I mean, why do we have them? You know? You gotta give
As I
them-
say, I
you
don't
gotta give some
necessarily have a
freedom.
problem with
What do you say?
going with a rustic look.
I mean, if you go down here, what's this guy down here? He's got all the signs up out front that says something about he'll do all kinds of work. I mean, who's enforcing that? Are you just talking about?
Is that in the village?
Yeah.
Charlie was.
Somebody should call Gary about that.
Need some water?
It's been there for a year, I figured he'd see it.
I
Do you
don't
know
know,
what
I
I'm
know
talking
that
about?
the town
There's
board,
Usually code enforcement acts on complaints.
the town board was kind of waiting until the joint planning board came back with a new proposed signage law. So they kind of backed off of enforcing the signage part of the zoning law in the town
Until it gets.
until they had something from the joint planning board, but they haven't quite met in the middle yet.
So by what the joint planning board is proposing, it wouldn't really be a signage law per se, they could do pretty much what they want, or?
Well, it says they'd act in an advisory capacity, yes.
Yes.
An advisory capacity only means people go to them, the board runs them through the ringers, and then they come to the village board or the town board and recommend. We like their sign, we don't like their sign, approve it, don't approve it. Board still have final approval on
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's.
that. Or if the current law says, code enforcement. is
Code
not
enforcement would approve it, and if it, currently, if it didn't meet the zoning law, then it went to a zoning, it goes to a zoning board of appeals, and they rule on it. The town and village board don't act on, individual permits.
And that's why I like the idea of it, because otherwise, why do we have a zoning board? If we don't give them the freedom to do these things and
Right,
tell
but
us.
this is the joint planning board, which is separate from the
Yeah.
zoning board of appeals.
I know, but I'm saying, it's,
Okay.
they need to,
You do want to be careful with your advisory boards like the planning board. They like to know that they're putting their time in and they're being listened to. So if you have specific concerns about that, about the standard, maybe address that with them and say, we like where you're coming from, or we like some elements of this, but can you maybe address some additional concerns? You don't immediately want to gainsay or slap them away.
Who's it?
Because it's
Well,
very difficult to get people to
It
serve
also
in
said
those
the CEO would be
capacities.
a part of the process too,
Yes,
so
because
I
the
mean,
code
it's.
enforcement officer would be the one to
Yeah.
ultimately.
Can we
feel
get
like
somebody
there's a
from the
script,
joint
yeah.
planning board to come into our next meeting and just kinda tell
I
us
can
where they're
ask.
coming from?
I can ask.
Yeah, why don't
I like that idea.
That's actually a good idea.
It's,
Yeah.
it's based on what she just read us, it's so general.
we? Right,
Tell me what the theme is.
right.
There's no specifics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying a rustic look, it could, the country rustic look could go many different ways, but if you could,
Yeah.
so if you can put that onto old business as well,
Okay.
appreciate it. New York State Department of Public Service, reforming the Energy Vision public hearings, that's there. Usherwood Office Technology solicitation for copier.
Yeah, they just sent me a letter saying that they'd like to quote when we come up for our new copier, or we buy a printer or something.
Okay.
That's like a year or so away.
Notice of claim, we've already discussed that in executive.
Because it could pertain to potential litigation that falls into the executive session exceptions.
Thank you. Cardiac Life AED program, that was for what?
That was an email we received from cardiaclife.net. They're a full-service provider of all brands of AEDs, CPR AED training, first aid and bloodborne pathogen training. AED signage is required by New York State law. and comprehensive AED program management through on-location inspection and web-based management.
Do we even have AED machines?
No.
We do not.
We are supposed to have them, I think.
Not that I'm aware of unless the police have them.
I almost think we're, like, maybe over at our shop, we might possibly need one. I don't know. I
It's
don't know.
possible, I don't know what they have there.
Yeah, I don't know.
My question is, why wouldn't we want one?
Well, yeah, that's it.
Oddly enough, if you want a really good go-to for OSHA regulations and to make sure you have workplace safety being done, you would call Graves. A lot of insurance companies that provide your workers' comp will come and do a free audit of your workplace and say, here's things we recommend that you do, here's the things that you're deficient in that the state requires.
Yeah,
And frequently when you do that, you can get better
yeah.
insurance rates in the future, helps reduce claims.
Right.
They're frequently very happy to do it. So if there are some concerns about specific equipment that's missing, the board should consider getting an audit on
Yeah.
workplace safety from their insurer.
Yeah.
You bet.
I just stretched it, kind of seemed sore, yes. So, do we wanna contact
I wrote
Jason?
a note to contact Graves.
Yeah, I would, because, I mean, if we don't have them, we should.
Do
That's
you
gonna
want
have
to
a-
contact them or you want me to?
Oh, I can.
Okay.
I can if you want.
Alright.
That'll be a
Workplace safety audit, something like that, or workers' compensation, claim minimization, training, they have different names for it.
Yeah.
Alright, so are we gonna put that on, old business as well, to follow up with Jason on then, is that,
Okay.
okay?
Thanks, Jason. That's a good thing.
Proposed zoning law amendment, still waiting for the joint planning board,
And that's what
they're
the
waiting.
sign,
Right.
yeah.
Old elementary school building, nothing's being done at this point in time. We still have a lot more to review into that. Trash pickup, where did we leave off with trash pickup?
I thought we were
Bo
scrapping.
was-
Bo and I were working on an RFP.
Okay, how's that coming?
Very little progress to report.
Okay. Maybe at the beginning of the year, we can focus on looking at that, because that's been brought up multiple times by a couple
Yeah.
residents, okay. Public committees, has anybody signed up yet, Rose? No? Zoning Board of Appeals appointment, has anybody shown any interest? Still, nobody has contacted me in regards to it.
You may have to reach out to some folks for that. You
I
do want to
agree.
have a fully constituted ZBA.
Yeah. Because when did they meet next?
They meet as needed when there's
On
a
appeal.
permit that gets referred to them by the code enforcement.
I'm glad you find it funny, I shouldn't be going through this, I won't be going on. Tree policy review. We'll keep that on old business.
No, we just.
Well, there's still more.
No, we tabled no
that-
business, I don't think we got anything on it anyway, do we?
Well, there was a lot to go over because of a presentation that, Mr. Robinson gave us, that he discussed and did review and look at, to go forward with the tree policy for removal.
Oh, he was talking about new
About
business.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize it, I didn't see tree policy.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say, I'm sorry, about new business?
Why don't we just table that till the meeting, because I don't think there's really anything that.
Employee handbook, procurement policy review, water, law addendum.
Do you need anything with the water terminations?
With the water
We're gonna need-
terminations, those will go out on November
We're
1st.
gonna need Joan for that anyway, for that water law thing, because I know he's got some questions about the new water law too, so we might as well incorporate him here.
When
In
you,
reading some of the extra portions of it, amusingly enough, it defines delinquency as a person is delinquent, or there is a delinquency whenever someone is delinquent for more than such a time. Bad definition.
Water terminations.
Yeah.
so in
There's some
regards,
more drafting. and
so in
work.
regards to water terminations though, is there anything that we need to approve or go over?
No, actually, at the 11-9 meeting, I just wanted to make you aware, you've got a current shut-off list. Those
27,000?
notices,
Oh no, we have 11,000 that's on the shut-off amount.
the shut-off amount, that was a question I was gonna ask you. Typically, we have waited 2 quarters to do a shut-off notice.
Yeah, the law
And
right
then
now is
only
it says
allowed them to stay with 1 quarter. But
current law says once they're more than 30 days late paying,
they have to pay the entire balance.
well, no, because it says they can apply for a payment plan, and
That
the
is
board can choose to approve a payment.
That's
Okay.
correct though?
But without approving of a payment plan, then yeah, they have to pay in full by due date.
I don't know
That's-
why,
Unless they're
I see the
delinquent
first
when-
one here, the number 1,
Yeah?
and then it says shut off amount, and it has the total due before that, and it says the last date pay, which is 2/9, and then it has the write-off amount, which is when it should have got re-levied to the taxes, right?
No, let me explain these to you. Let me explain what I've got here for you. This is what their current total balance due on their account is, and then this is the shut-off amount previously. When we did those shut-offs after 2 quarters delinquent, they could pay 1 quarter and not get shut off. So I wanted to make sure if we could still do it that way or not. That's why that's still on there.
No,
This
not
was,
under the new water law, correct?
Not under my reading of it.
No, they can submit or.
so it's either pay the whole balance or ask for a payment arrangement.
Right.
Okay. Then the date of last payment is the last time that this person has made a payment on their account. This was how much was written off at the last re-levy.
Okay,
So, oh, these were just, I just seen,
So this is the amount now due, this is 1 quarter's worth. The last time they made a payment was February 9th on their account, and this was how much was re-levied in April of 2015 to their taxes.
Oh, jeez.
that's what I'm saying, in April, so this is 2 payments now due? On this?
Yes, this is the June and September now due.
So they should already be getting
Just
a shut-off
weird
notice
that
and
they're
what
the
should
same. I guess
already
that's
be
what threw
posted
me
as
off,
well.
is that the numbers are the same.
that's correct.
Yes, because they're getting a minimum bill.
Okay, yeah, I guess maybe that was too bad.
So then, the shut-off notices are being sent when?
The shut-off notices are to be sent, no, you said after 30 days,
No
past
sooner
due?
than 30 days is what it was.
Right, so November 1st, those will get mailed out. They have 10 days. And
Then somebody from DPW has to go and actually post a warning that it'll be shut off.
in 5 days.
And then if they don't pay in 5 days, they get shut off.
Okay,
So the ones with shut-off amounts are the ones that are in danger. This is what everybody owes, or this is just the late?
This
everybody
is
that's past
everybody
30
with a
days.
balance, past 30 days.
So
Yeah.
past 30 days, if they don't pay within the shut-off time, then,
Yeah, so they've got 1 more week before I'm gonna actually send out the notices. They'll get sent out Monday.
What do we do about the ones that are already shut off and still not paying?
those are ones that we would, the
They
bill would
levy when
continue,
the spring comes.
Keeps growing?
right?
Yeah.
And then if they can't, if it say it's, yeah, that's pretty much it.
There are some that can't be turned off due to either they don't know where the service is, or it's buried under the house, or for
At some
whatever
point in
reason.
time, if the bill gets
And
over
then there are,
1,000, then it
there
can
are the
go
tenant
for
ones
some
as well.
point.
And for the ones where it's in town property, the village can't levy on taxes and actually does have to go through a claims process in court in order to get those.
Okay,
But we added the $5 per day late fee to those.
yeah,
As hopefully an
For those
incentive
outside the village that can't be turned off.
right.
to encourage them, hey, here's a much, much bigger bill if you don't pay.
All right, so that,
So that's the terminations.
that concludes our meeting.
No,
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
I still have my.
Oh, clerk, you're up then. I'm sorry, I forgot all.
I'm very sorry. So is John gonna contact County Department of Aging
Yes,
and talk to them about what
because he'll
the
understand more
village's
what,
plans are?
yes, and then he can understand more what needs
Did
to
he
be
get
done
the
to
number
communicate.
from you?
I'm gonna give him the number
Okay.
tomorrow, it's in my office.
All
I
right.
just wanna make sure, cause she really wants to know what the village's, not a guarantee, but what your intentions are.
Well, I think it's good that if we do something with it, we can get them possibly to come back.
Okay.
I just gotta find out what the cost is to
Yeah.
us. If it's gonna cost us 20,000, I think.
Yeah.
We'll have a hard time reaching for that.
I've said it before, I don't think
But if it's within
we're
reach,
gonna have them there long-term. I don't think they,
It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like
yeah.
they wanna do everything that needs to be done,
Yeah.
so it's possible.
Seeing how yet they're reaching out to us to see what we're doing with the senior building, that's,
Yeah.
it's good.
Really briefly, for our flu shot clinic, the end of September, we had 4 people attend. About 2 weeks later, the ambulance did a flu shot clinic. So, do we do this again next year? Do we just let the ambulance do it and not try and separate out the turnout?
Well, I think it was bad timing, because I don't think a lot of people knew about ours.
Yeah,
I think they had a good turnout at the ambulance, didn't it?
They're pretty decent.
good, okay.
Ours was posted though.
Is there any extra
Yeah.
cost to the village hosting one?
Ours was
Well,
posted.
No,
for
it
a
didn't
long
cost
time.
us anything.
So I
Ours
wouldn't-
You don't have to have an extra person.
Right, he
there,
picked it
but,
up, so that-
No, we had it in the afternoon when I was already here, so it didn't cost any more for them to come.
Plus, they had one last Wednesday down at the Fireman's Club for all first responders.
Oh, did they?
So, that's 3 of them in
So
a
I-
month, so.
I don't know, I mean, do we just try and
It's a free service they're
hit
providing.
as many as we can, or, I don't know, I just wanted to let the board know, and, if Rite Aid
If we
contacts
got-
me next year, then.
If we got 4 people, that's 4 people, I mean, it didn't cost us
What's the
anything.
downside?
Right,
What's the
They got
downside?
a flu shot. That's it.
Yeah.
okay. 2 more things, the town court, Justice Good is working on his JCAP grant.
Yep.
Which is to include, painting back here and in the hallway, and the entry door fixed, this one here, the courtroom entry door, and, blinds, and also work on the furnace and heating duct air conditioning type of system. So he wants to include that in his JCAP grant, but since the village owns the building, he would need permission from the village to
Absolutely.
go ahead. So could we have a motion
I'll
just
make a
to
motion
cover
for that.
everyone's?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, carried and approved.
JCAP. Okay. And the last thing I have is that we need to talk about how I can go about either contracting with someone to provide IT service, or if I need to bid it out. I need to have someone that I can call for IT computer support. I do have a quote from Acme, very informal. Acme Business, we do our copier lease with them and we
Okay.
service it. We purchase it in blocks of time, a 5-hour block or a 10-hour block, and it's basically $75 an hour. And then you chip away at it, and when you need to purchase a new block of time, then you purchase a new block of time.
Oh, okay, so it's.
That was their quote that I
I see
received.
what you're saying.
Is that good enough? Do I need to do advertise for a whole bid process?
$75 an hour, is that done remotely or do they come on site?
In most cases, they can do it remotely, but at least the first visit will be on site because he'll need to do a survey and an inspection of what we have
And set everything up in the system.
and make
Okay.
sure, yeah, make sure he
And
knows.
is the $75 from the time they hit the door or from the time they leave their office?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's-
Most of
Because
the
that's
work,
called deadhead.
yeah.
Yeah.
Most
yeah.
of the work will be done remotely. He'll put a client or whatever it's called
Who
on.
does it?
Oh, thin client.
Does the town have anybody do theirs?
It's me. Just me.
Let's check and see when the $75 an hour starts, if they have to come out.
Okay, okay.
I would get a couple of quotes too, I know what's gonna cost us.
Okay.
Now, do they have to have their own insurance or anything when it comes to IT because of security, viruses, all that kind of security
The
threat?
village can choose to require it.
Now, like, would Acme hold or carry? I would assume they would carry an insurance, correct?
I would think so.
I would assume so. I mean, just in regards to that, I mean, security is a huge issue when it comes to IT. So,
I mean, they have a storefront and, you know, multiple employees, and I would assume they have some sort of insurance coverage.
Okay.
But
You can
I
find
will,
out
I will
as
see if I
well.
can get a couple more quotes.
yes.
I'll find out with this one if I can get something formal and when the time starts, if it's on site or, you know, when they leave.
It's good.
And I will work on a couple more quotes, because I really do want to get someone in here that I can rely on and call and, you know, this, something's,
Is this something that we could utilize with the town as well, like share the expense, seeing how it would also be town equipment as well? Or, well, I mean, you're talking computers.
Yeah, we share the computers. The town bought my computer, the village bought Joy's computer, but they're both used for town and village.
I mean, you're talking, I mean,
So-
instead of it being $75 an hour, now we're down to
38.
$37.50, yeah.
$37.50, yeah, exactly, so that's reasonable.
37.50.
So I mean, that's,
Well, that's dependent on them agreeing to share the,
I would think they would.
I wouldn't see why they wouldn't, but we'd have to run by it.
Right,
I mean, yeah, it's both, okay. So if you could find out as well. I'll say, if you could remind me to email the town in regard to that, if they would go
okay,
and have go halves with the cost of IT. I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to.
All right,
You didn't want to offend the Dutch?
and I think that's all I have.
Oh, you got? Oh, is that everything for me?
Just one thing to think about. When we got the land that's around the spring, we got it on both sides of the road, which surprised me. I thought they were just gonna give us around the spring, but they gave us the whole property, which is 146 acres. But on the west side, west of my trail, there's 27 acres, okay? There's a sliver, 2 slivers between 242 and my trail. One is 1.67 acres, the other is 3.6. So there's about 30 acres over there that we might think down the road it might be worth selling, because it really doesn't do anything for us, because it's away from the spring. There are people over in Lenco Lake area, the Kaiser owns property adjacent to this. He's a banker, and his brother used to work for EDS. And they may be interested in that back hill. That back hill has just been decimated, so they're concerned about it. So I'm just thinking, we need to think about it if we want to get rid of it or not. Put it out for bid or whatever, but it's not decision time or anything like that. It's just, it can be some money, found money for us. Okay?
Now,
As long as you talk to Dr. Crawford to make sure it's not in the recharge area for the stream, the process for selling land is the village declares it surplus, you vote in a motion. You say, we don't need this anymore, it doesn't suit any of our purposes. Then you can put it out to public bid.
Just saying that.
And you can receive sealed bids or set up any procedure that you like for it.
That, Rose, will you add that on to, for old business as well as about, selling, parcels of property, I suppose, is what you wanna.
if we sold that, where would the money go? Would that go into general, would that end up in
Frequently
water,
general.
because that had to do with our water
It would
system?
seem like it would go to your water, but I think that's a decision you have to make.
Yeah.
To me, it would seem
It's
like,
either a Gene question or it's the board decides where it's going. I'm not
it
sure.
seems like to me that would be
You
the
know how much I
water.
got for it, I put it in water and then use that to pay the 50,000 back.
I'm just saying, it might be found money,
Right.
but I figure that it's gotta be worth between $500 and $1,000 an acre at least, and to them, they've got a summer home down there, that's a year-round home, really nice. And I think they got about 40, 50 acres already. But that would give them a pond, there's a pond in there, I own half of it, Wagner owned half of it. And, so, just saying, and that little sliver that's 3.6 acres, that's where the house used to be, so that would be a driveway in, across the trail and up to the property. So that would be 30 acres altogether.
All right, it's 10:50. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
No.
No.
Yes, I'll make it.
I'll make the motion myself.
I was with you,
That's what it's gonna be. Jason made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second.
We're second first. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous, carried.
Good one.